Hey, man, thank you for clicking on the link and watching this video and giving me an opportunity to kind of share something on my heart that is unique to a kind of a small group of men that have played a part or are playing a part in my life. There's about, to be clear, there's about 20-ish of you guys. I was originally typing out a message and I was going to send that out different ways, but it was getting kind of corny and long. And, look, bottom line is guys, man, we don't really like to sit there and read a bunch of stuff, plus I thought a video would be a little bit more personal. So thank you for playing this video. So there's two things that have kind of triggered me to want to send a note out to you. But before I kind of get there, that for the men that I've sent this to, that you have all played a part in my story. And for whatever part that you played, and whenever in my past or history or whatever, or even in the present, that you're playing a part in my story, you kind of hold a certain place in my heart, and have kind of helped me, throughout my life. Some of you we've personally met with and spoke a day or two ago. Some of you a week ago. But there are some men that I'm sending this to that we haven't spoken or had a one-on-one conversation in over a year. And some of you we haven't had a one-on-one conversation personally in several decades. Some of you have known me for a long time. And you kind of know what kind of my personality was like. And so when I reflect on that, thank you for somehow sticking around with me and at least unofficially remaining connected with me, via different means. And if we're not socially engaged, one of the things I'm hoping at the end of this video is that we can do some things to kind of rectify that. Because I know that, throughout my history, there are some folks that I have, I don't know, maybe this is the wrong choice of words, but I'm going to say is not treated fairly. Or perhaps there are some things as we interacted, in the past that, you may have found a little unfavorable. I wouldn't be surprised by that, but I'm hoping that you can see that I definitely want to make sure that we restore things socially. And there's a reason that I'm bringing this up, by the way. So one thing is that one area is that you guys know, most of you should know, or if you don't, you do now, that I'm in the middle of writing my second book. And as I'm writing this book, it's very humbling if you've never written one, especially that includes, portions of your life in the book. It can be very humbling as you do that. And so you're kind of reflecting on things in the past so that you can share with people why you're a better person, today. So for me personally is what has the Lord been doing with me and working inside me to improve on things of my character and personality, the way I conduct myself and that sort of thing is compared to my past. And so anyways, I'm writing the book and I'm reflecting on a lot of things. It's very, eye-opening, especially kind of the more honest you are when you're writing. And so as I'm kind of writing on that, it's starting to kind of to kind of hit me. And again, I'm not being judgmental about my past. Again, I've repented to God. I've repented to the Lord, and I know that He has forgiven me. So don't misread what I'm saying here. But the fact that I have never gone out to anybody and asked for your forgiveness for anything that I have done with you in the past, then I wanted to use this video as an opportunity to seek your forgiveness for whatever wrong that I may have done in your life. And for some of you, you may say there's no wrong, that nothing happened, and that's fine. So this is applicable to those that perhaps there's something that kind of where I've impacted our relationship in the past, and I can't anyway. So I just wanted to put that out there. For many of us that are connected, I know that some of you aren't necessarily, we have different beliefs. So I believe in God, and some of you don't. But I want you to know that while I wish that you would, and hopefully one day, you'll come to recognize what your identity is in Christ. There's nothing with me that looks any differently upon you as a result that we have different beliefs. So I hope that you can look upon me as well as being somebody that my beliefs are fine. So perhaps maybe with it might be I'm a little pushy on some things, and or at least that's how you're taking it, and that's definitely not my desire. I love every single one of you. That's why you're receiving the link to this video, and um, and so it's because I love you that I kind of share some of the stuff I do. So there's that. Now, for those of you that are believers, some of us have different theological beliefs, or maybe there's some doctrinal things or whatever that I believe that there's differences that might be a little bit subtle. But I enjoy the fact that it's fine, and there's nothing for me that I look bad on because of those different beliefs. And I pray that you don't, look at me as being somebody that's antagonistic towards another theological or doctrinal belief. That's definitely not what I want to do. So if that's something I've done, I would like to receive a message from you personally, on what you think that is. I think that there's that common theme that as long as we all believe that Jesus Christ died and he was risen 3 days later and he's sitting at the right hand of God in heaven, that generally tends to be kind of good enough, and that but we want to carry that cross daily and those sorts of things. But outside of that, then there might be a little differences. Perhaps there's some things that we interpret differently. And I share via multiple social media platforms, man. I'm all over a bunch of different platforms, and there might be some things that we feel that maybe interpret differently. And I can't say that won't happen again. I pray that something isn't so far off to the left or far off to the right that it's caused any kind of an issue there. But if it has, I would like to hear from you if that's what it is. Not to debate, but for understanding. Because I definitely, my goal with this video is I want to restore a social relationship with everybody that I've sent this video off to. Then we get into maybe there's some political things that we have. Maybe there's some very disparaging things politically. But I want to know that I respect the fact that other people have other opinions on things from a political perspective. I definitely monitor, and I definitely communicate with certain individuals on some cultural and some political things. And sometimes I'm asked my opinion and I share it with them when they ask. And sometimes I share via different social media platforms what those opinions are. And so I know by virtue of that, it can kind of try to turn people off. And that's definitely not what I want to do, though I recognize that it's possible. But I think that we in this group, I hope we can get past that, because I definitely don't hold anything against anybody that has a different belief. There are some things that I know I'm going to be very passionate about, and that some of you, I think I can think of two of you that may have a very different opposing view on some things. But I don't want that to hurt anything socially. I think that we're mature and we can kind of get past that. But to kind of move forward on the Sabi stuff, some of you knew, we were connected when I was in the military, so things were a little bit tougher. We were men and we were soldiers. I'm still there. It's just that I am learning as I grow and develop is how to show my love for people. And sometimes my love is rough and uncouth. I've been accused of that in the past, and I suspect that some of that comes out even today. But I can tell you that when it comes out, I'll be my own worst critic before anybody else ever will. And so it's just that the way I'm expressing my love for people is different. But I can tell you, man, that fire, that soldier spirit, that everything in me from the military days, it's still there. It's just now trying to maintain it at an even strain is all. And some of you that I've talked with in the last couple of days or last week, you personally can see in the one-on-one interactions that I'm very passionate, very animated, very loud on things. So anyway, I promise you guys that we haven't spoken to in a year. It's not that I'm soft. It's just trying to maintain some things. But I attended a meeting tonight. And some of the stuff that was shared in this meeting tonight kind of impacted me. And it impacted me also kind of with me kind of writing that second book and some of the stuff that I'm peeling off as I write that book. And it was a men's ministry thing. It was a part of a national ministry. And so they were kind of sharing some very sobering statistics. And it really it really impacted me. I mean, there's things that you know, but when you're kind of in this in the setting of this men's ministry thing, and they're kind of sharing some of this stuff, man, it's extremely sobering. And I'll just throw out the name. There's Zoe Ministry that's led by a guy named Michael Thompson, and he's being discipled by a guy named John Eldridge. And I think some of you are familiar with John Eldridge. He's the Wild at Heart guy, and he's got a very big men's ministry. And Michael Thompson's it's not as big as John Eldridge, but it's definitely got a national presence. 150,000 members, I think, kind of participate in Zoe Ministries, but John Eldridge is bigger. So these guys have got their finger on the pulse on the status of men, and this is men's ministry thing, across the country. And if you've heard some of these stats before, please forgive me. Some of you guys may not have heard these stats before, but they really impacted me. 79.9% of suicides, and I don't know how far back that status goes. I don't know if that's this year or the last 5 years. I'm not sure how far back it goes. But what's reported by the World Health Organization is that 79.9% of suicides are male. And that's something that I think most of you have heard about. And that came from the WHO. 75% of homeless people in America are single men. That there are 24.5 million websites out there that are dedicated to pornography. I'm talking about where they state their mission and their purpose of existing is pornography. 24.5 million different websites. The porn industry right now is about $8.8 billion a year. That's more than the NFL. And so it's like that we got men. Now, women are included in that. There's women that deal with porn too. But I think that statistically, men outnumber women when it comes to porn addictions and things. And when it's bigger than the NFL, we got men putting more into porn than we do into sporting activities. But the suicide rate and the homeless rate for men. And what they put out is also, they were sharing some things where a lot of the groups, men's ministry groups, and I just don't know if this applies to your all individual churches that you attend, so maybe your experience is different. They're talking about nationally, and they're kind of talking about as an average, that men's ministry groups have shrunk from 25 in a group to 3. So men's ministry groups are shrinking, and men's involvement in church is significantly decreasing. So the men that are disengaging from men's ministry are also disengaging from church as a whole. Now, for the small number of guys out here that are that aren't believers, I'm going to get a little churchy here, but if you decide to stop this video at this point, then if there's anything I've done in the past that has done something where it's kind of strained our relationship that I'm not aware of, or that you probably think I'm aware of, I'm not, and nothing's triggering, I would ask that you reach out to me, because I definitely want to re-engage socially. And these stats in my book is really what opened my heart to write this, to send this video out. So if you want to stop now, that's fine. But again, I definitely want to reconnect socially. So back onto these stats. And so men are definitely disengaging from church as a whole. Some of them are going because their wife is going, but if their wife stopped going, then the men wouldn't go. So they're not engaged. They're not really involved. They're going there to satisfy, from arguments and things. But anyway, so we have men that are disengaging, and they're disengaged from men's ministries. And the one thing that they don't really have their hands wrapped around yet is why. Why are men disengaging from church and leaving men's ministry groups? I don't know if it's a fellowship problem. I don't know if it's a lot of things, but I definitely believe it being a heart problem. So, as I was kind of reflecting on this issue of being a heart that I believe it's a heart problem, that's when it kind of fell on me. It's like, man, I got to reach back out to some guys. Again, some of you were presently connected and we're talking and those sorts of things, and there's some of you that were not. And I would like to explore it. I want to re-engage. I think it's important that as men, we have to fellowship together. A man understands a man's heart. Women sort of understand their man, but they don't understand a man's heart. And so, and it concerns me that that's what's happening. And when we consider things happening around the nation with identity issues and all those crazy things, again, not to get into your beliefs, but that it's related to the heart of the man. And so that's something that I'll be exploring later. But so as I was kind of reflecting at this meeting and this sobering data, and when I got the Wild at Heart group and Zoe Ministries, and basically what they said was that we are losing the war within men's ministry. They didn't say we lost. They said we were losing. We're losing the war within men's ministry. The spiritual warfare against men is intense, and we're losing. But but we can restore it, and that starts with rebuilding and reestablishing relationships amongst men. And that was kind of my takeaway from that meeting tonight. And man, I mean, I had to kind of sit back and pray for like 30 minutes before doing this video, because it's real deep. I hope it's as deep on your hearts as it is on mine. Reference this issue with men and ministry and that kind of thing. And so anyway, I know I tend to ramble, and I don't want to ramble too much, but I wanted to send a note to you, to each of you, and I said it's about 20 to 22 of you that are going to see this video, and I care about you. I do, and I pray that if we have not had one-on-one discussions in a long time, that we can re-engage socially, and because it's important, and well, at least it's important to me, and I hope it's important to you as well. And that's kind of what I wanted to kind of share with everybody. And again, I'm very aware of my past. I'm very aware of things, of how I conducted myself years ago. And for people that know me today, you didn't know me years ago, you just know me today. But I'm telling you that talk to the people that knew me years ago and the ones that know me now. And I believe that they would tell you that I'm different. I still got some kooky. I still act like a dork. I'm still, a nerd. But man, I care. I do. And anyway, I care about you. And that's why I wanted to send this video out to you, to know that if there's anything that you need from me, anything, I want you to reach out, even if it's just a chat. And, I got, and I'm just going to single out one guy by name, Jim. Jim, brother, man, out of anybody out there, that you can call me anytime you want. And I'm just going to call you, even if I'm just going to say, hey, man, I just want to call and say hi and hang up on you, man. You know what I'm talking about. So anyway, brothers, I love you. And I really hope that you can forgive me for anything I've done in the past. And I want you to know that I'm thinking about you guys all the time. And anyway, I just pray that we can re-engage socially if we're not engaged socially. Even if it's remotely, I don't really care. It's just something that we can kind of work together. So anyway, if you want to send me some feedback and a note, I'd appreciate it. If you don't, then that's fine as well. So anyway, God bless you all. I love you all. Have a good night.